Hey friends, Larissa here. So I have a bunch of t-shirts that have developed holes in them. I've probably had these t-shirts between 3 and up to 15 years. I could just throw them away and buy new ones, but I know how to do stuff, so I'm gonna try and fix them. Some of you who don't have this issue may be wondering, how in the hell do those holes keep appearing in my shirts? Is it bugs eating them? What the hell are you doing to your shirts? I will show you. It's a combination of having jeans with a metal button, shirts that come over it, and being the right height for this button. So let's say I'm washing dishes here. This button will rub and go and saw through my shirt. Right there. I'm 5'4" for reference, so maybe if you're taller you don't have this issue. Or maybe if your pants don't have metal buttons or something that can poke a hole through your shirts, but that's what I'm dealing with. So I have a lot of shirts that are like this, so let's try something else. So here I have one of my shirts with a ton of holes right in the belly there from my jeans, really just rubbing through them when I lean against counters. So I've been thinking about this for probably months about what I want to do about this. I figured maybe I could patch it, maybe I could embroider it. I just didn't really come up with anything that I liked. And then I stumbled upon a video that she was using fabric scraps to make color blocked clothing so that those usable pieces of fabric didn't go to waste. And I was thinking, oh, I don't have to just deal with this space right here. I can deal with a bigger chunk of the shirt. So the idea that I got from her was, I'm just going to cut this bottom part of the shirt off and then use it as a template to trace out a replacement with some fabric that I have and make a color blocked shirt. That's it. So we're gonna try it out. I don't know if you were hoping for a different solution, but this is what I'm gonna do with at least one shirt. So let's try it out. Okay, I have this smooth flat. I made sure that it was hanging properly from the shoulder seams down rather than trying to even out the side seams because they're a bit off. Like this one kind of is in right here and this one kind of wraps around the back. I did what I could about all these wrinkles. I just didn't want it to be crazy crooked when I cut into it. So I am going to have this on my mat here so that it can kind of be as straight as a line as I can get it. So I'm just gonna cut it. I moved the intact part of the shirt out of the way because I need to basically take this apart and trace something that's about the same size with enough seam allowance for attaching it and trying to replicate it. So it's kind of like a high-low hem on this shirt, so the front and back are not going to be the same. But I'm going to dismantle this further and then get it on top of here so I can kind of start tracing it and seeing what I need to do to cut this out to size. So I'm cutting along those side seams and laying these as straight and flat as I can on the new fabric. I'm tracing the top and bottom with a 1/2-inch seam allowance and then going kind of overboard on the sides so that I can trim it down to the actual width of the shirt once I get these pieces cut out. Okay, I think I figured out what I want to be doing here. So I've got this replacement piece lined up with the raw edge of the shirt. This is the back. I marked the center point with chalk here, so it doesn't really matter. So right now I'm kind of just going to, I'm going to put both of these here with the straight edge here and this up here. So what I'm going to do is basically just cut this exactly where it's going to match up with the shirt. I have it like the shirt spread out so there's no wrinkles, so it's going to be the full width of the shirt. And what I'm going to do is then once these are trimmed down, I'm going to serge here and here to make a loop, and then I'm going to attach it to the shirt. So I'm just going to, this is very inexact, so I'm just going to trim it like here and over here. Like that. So now I'm going to just serge these ends. It's going to end up, I'm going to have to trim off some of these because this doesn't line up with that, obviously, so it doesn't matter. Alright, so I've got this serged together into like a loop. So I'm going to put right sides together. I'm going to turn this right side out, and then since this is the wrong side, that's what we're going to be seeing. So this is the front and the other part is the back, so the shirt's kind of just going to go inside this little loop that I made. And I'm going to attempt to line up these seams. And I know the seams are kind of wonky, so we'll see if this ends up being how it goes. So I'm just going to fiddle with this until it's non-wrinkly anywhere. So I've got this bottom part attached to the shirt. I'm going to sew it with a 1/2-inch seam allowance. I have my quilting foot on my sewing machine. We'll see if that helps. Regular sewing machines and knit fabrics don't really get along that well, but whatever. So we're just gonna sew this with a 1/2-inch seam allowance, and then I'm gonna press it and then serge. So I'll see you there. You can see here I'm using my quilting walking foot and sewing a 1/2-inch seam allowance. And left probably a 1/4-inch seam allowance. Now that we have this seam done and serged, I'm gonna press the seam toward the top of the shirt. And then I will top stitch. I feel like I need some advice from people who sew with knits a lot, because I'm noticing, like on these side seams over here, that my serger kind of like rips holes instead of gently poking through fibers. It's sort of like ripping through the fibers. It doesn't do it on knit fabrics, but, or what did I say? It doesn't do it on woven fabrics, but on knit fabrics, it seems to just tear through. And I don't love that, because then my clothes like fall apart because they're like 100 little tears in a couple of inches instead of just gentle little spaces that are just pressed. I'll show you what I mean. Right here. Like it like pokes holes in the fabric instead of whatever. Anyway, so that's pressed, and I'm gonna go over to my sewing machine. Okay, this is actually looking pretty good. So before I do this bottom hem, this whole situation, I just need to kind of trim that so that it lines up. I'm just gonna do that in real time. This is me not caring if this is perfect. I'm just gonna, all right. That's good enough for me. So I'm going to serge around this edge, and then I will press it for a 1/2 inch seam. I'm securing these edges with the serger, and then I'm intermittently clipping it just to make sure I've got it at about a 1/2 inch before I press it. I'm not really gonna clip it again before I take it back over to the sewing machine. And finally, I'm edge stitching this hem in place, and that's all she wrote. Okay guys, I'm done. Look, it's a shirt with no tummy holes. You went from this whole situation to this. It's probably not perfectly perfect, but look, it's the same size. It is going to fit me because it's the same shirt. So we did it, everyone. So if you can sew, you can hack your shirts apart. All right, guys, here's the finished shirt. There's no holes. It's just as it was, just a different color. So obviously you can fix these kinds of holes in any way you want to, but I thought I would have fun with putting a different color on the bottom of the shirt. So I've got 7 more shirts with holes in them, so I'm gonna get creative, see where it takes us. Thanks for watching, bye!